Hey everybody, Mr. Quick here. We're going to jump in today and talk about Eureka Math, Engage New York Math, Module 1, Lesson 16, from ratios to rates. Rate is a new word for us, a new vocabulary word, and we're going to talk about that and how we can use that. So let's get started. We're going to begin today with an example. We'll go through the example and then we'll kind of expand our thinking on that example and talk about what are rates and unit rates and rate units. So let's jump into it. Okay, it says, starting here, Diet Cola was on sale last week. It cost $10 for every 4 packs of Diet Cola. So if you bought, we can associate this to ratios, right? If we're talking money to soda or cola or pop or whatever you want to call it, right? Our ratio would be $10 for every 4 packs of diet soda. They want to know, how much do 2 packs of Diet Cola cost? Well, here's what we can do. There's a lot of things we can do really, but we can make a chart, right? And so we could do, let's say, we'll just say Diet Cola, and we'll say cost, and we'll make ourselves a little chart here. We can just extend this, right? Okay. Well, for 4 Diet Colas, it costs $10. If I want to know how many 2 cost, right, to go from 4 to 2, I'm dividing by 2. So, same thing over here. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So, 2 packs of diet soda would cost $5. Another way to look at that, I'm going to draw this at the bottom just for space purposes. If we made that a fraction 4 tenths or 4 to 10, we could find the equivalent, right? 2 to what would be the cost? Well, same thing, use that magic number or the constant, which is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. You get your answer that way as well. Okay, next question asks, how much does 1 pack of diet soda cost or Diet Cola cost? Well, we know 4 is 10. 2 packs would be $5. So now I'm going to use that same chart, and I'm going to make that 1 pack, and we want to figure out how much would this be, right? Well, we divided by 2 here. From 2 to 1, we're also going to have to divide by 2, right? That's our constant. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 5 divided by 2 would be what? Well, I know because I kind of associate it with money. Well, if I have $5 and I owe someone half of that, then I owe them $2.50. So it would be 2.5, which we know we can also add that 0. So it would be $2.50 for 1 pack of diet soda. Just real quick, let me do a quick aside. Let me just show you how I would have got that. If I didn't know that off the top of my head, I would divide 5 divided by 2. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract, I get 1. I always have trouble writing at the bottom of my screen. We'll put that over here. 1. I know I need to bring another number down, but I don't have one, so I can put a decimal here and add a 0. The decimal goes up, the 0 comes down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract, you get 0. 2.5, and we know with decimals we can add zeros after the final digit, after the decimal place. Okay, we're going to jump into some vocabulary here, and these are important, and we're going to use these terms a lot, so I know they're very similar, and that can be a little bit confusing. Rate. Let's look at rate first. The ratio relationship, so they told us it was $10. Oops. $10. Hold on. There we go. $10 for every 4 packs. So it was a 10 to 4 ratio. That can be written as this rate: $2.5 per pack. That is the rate. So if you want to get 4, if there's 10 for 4 sale going on, but you only want to get 1, you want to find the rate. Okay. The unit rate is just 2.5 because that's the value of the ratio, right? So to have the rate, you have to include both sides. 2.5 or $2.50 per pack, right? Or for every pack. The unit rate is just 2.5. That's the value of that ratio. All right. The rate unit is dollars per pack of Diet Cola. That's just telling us what they're looking at, right? So we're comparing dollars per pack. So we have rate, which would be 2.5 per pack, unit rate, which is 2.5, and rate unit, which is dollars per pack of Diet Cola. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, with that new knowledge here, let's look at our next example. Tegan went to Gamer Realm to buy new video games. Gamer Realm was having a sale, $65 for 4 video games. He bought 3 games for himself and 1 game for his friend Diego. But Tegan does not know how much Diego owes him for 1 game. What is the unit price of the video games? What is the rate unit? Well, let's take a look. So our ratio is $65 to 4 games, right? So already we know our rate unit, because our rate unit, if you recall, if we go back, dollars per pack of Diet Cola, right? Well, in this case, we already know what we're looking at, dollars per games. So the rate unit is dollars per game. Now we still have to figure out what the price of 1 video game is, so that way Tegan knows how to correctly charge his friend. If I write 65 to 4 as a fraction, 65 fourths, now it becomes simply a matter of finding the equivalent, right? So instead of 4 games, we want to find 1 game. And so I know that my constant, or as I like to call it, the magic number, would be 4, right? 4 divided by 4 gives us 1. So we've got to do the same thing up here. 65 divided by 4 gives us what? Well, let's find out. If we do, well, let's see, I'm going to need a little more room than that. All right, if we do 65 divided by 4, 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Drop the 5. 4 goes into 25 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. We subtract. We have 1. We don't do a remainder with money, right? We do decimals. Like, no one's ever said, here's your remainder. No, they say, here's your change. So I need something else to bring down here, but there's nothing here. So I need to add a decimal, and I'll make that a 0. If I add a decimal, I've got to put it directly above that place value. So now I can drop a 0. 4 goes into 10 twice, right? 4, 8. 2 times 4 is 8. We subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. I can now drop another 0. 4 goes into 20. How many times? 5 times exactly. 20 minus 20 is 0, meaning our problem is over. So 1 game is 16.25. So if he took advantage of that $65 for 4 video games deal, each video game is worth $16.25, and that makes that $16.25 would be the unit price, because that's the price of 1 unit. You're getting 4 units out of the deal, 4 video games. The price of 1 unit is $16.25. Okay, we'll jump into one more example here. 4 football fans took turns driving the distance from New York to Oklahoma to see a big game. Each driver set the cruise control during his or her portion of the trip, enabling him or her to travel at a constant speed. So they weren't speeding up and slowing down. They're driving the same speed the whole time. The group changed drivers each time they stopped for gas and recorded their driving times and distances in the table below. So they've given us this table. Use the given data to answer the following questions. What are the 2 quantities being compared? Well, we've got the fans here. We have all their names, how far they drove, and how long it took them. So in this case, we're actually going to compare distance, or miles, right? Because it was distance in miles. And we're comparing that to time. the time it took them to drive. So in this case, we're comparing distance and time. Next question is, what is the ratio of the two quantities for Andre's portion of the trip? What is the associated rate? So we're looking for the ratio and the rate. If we look at Andre up here, Andre drives 208 miles for every 4 hours. So our ratio is 208 to 4. Our rate, we then have to do a little division, right? 208, I'm going to rewrite that so it looks more like it's 0. 208 over 4. Now, we know fractions are division problems. We can just do that division problem, or we can say, okay, we want to find out, if we're talking about 4 hours, we want to find out how far he would go every 1 hour. We know that's divided by 4. Divided by 4, you're going to get the same thing either way. 208 divided by 4. 4 does not go into 2, but it does go into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract, you get 0. Bring down the 8. 4 goes into 8 2 times. Get 8. You get 8, and that's 0. So our unit rate, right up here, would be 52 miles per hour. Okay, we are going to look at this next question, but we're going to do that together in class. This video is already going a little bit long, and we're going to check that example, and we're going to do that, and we're going to look at a few other examples. So if you have any questions, you can bring those to me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with it, and we'll see you soon.